Hi everybody, Andrew Cuneo here. I'm going to be doing day one of the Arena Open. I'm going to be playing best of 3. It's sealed. I think I'm going to try to do something a little bit differently with this video. Usually it takes a couple of, or maybe even more than a couple attempts to try to get through day one of the Open. And I think rather than trying to just make a video that's like the gameplay from one of the runs, I'm going to just edit together the sealed builds and maybe try to show the deciding game with each run. So if you want to see lots of sealed builds, this will probably be the video for you. If you want to see lots of gameplay, maybe not the best video for you. I have Chandra Hope Speaking, which is an exceptionally good card. Transcendent Message and Rona are both pretty good. Complete the Circuit is basically useless. It just costs too much mana for what it does. SRAM could maybe be good in the right deck. Invasion of Ikoria, it's really dependent on having a really good non-human. It only gets creatures, right? Yeah, creatures. You can't even get Chandra Hope Speaking. Got 2 more rares hiding out. Maybe they'll be better or good. Let's find out. If there's any justice, one of them is going to be a Breach of the Multiverse so that I can use Chandra plus Breach the Multiverse. We've got a Karuga and a Bloodfeather Phoenix. Alright, so you can't bring the Phoenix back by minusing Chandra. It's pretty hard to get a deck in Limited that is actually good at bringing back the Phoenix. You just don't have a bunch of shocks in your deck randomly. So this is probably... This is certainly not a great set of rares. It's probably below average, but it's not disastrously bad. Let's see what else we got. This triggers off of auras, equipments, and vehicles. White's not very deep. We do get a few 2-drops. Blue looks pretty good, actually. I'm pretty excited to have Artistic Refusal. Having counters in the sealed format I think is pretty good. There's also a Negate, which I might main deck if I play blue, and an Assimilate Essence. And I've got Captive Weird and Rona and Cyber Cryptomancer, Skyclave Aerialist. Yeah, blue looks pretty strong, which is a good sign. What do we got in black? We have 1 Final Flourish, 1 Deadly Derision. Nothing else stands out as particularly strong. Red, we have multiples of some pretty bad cards. Do have 2 Volcanic Spites, though, and 2 Stoke the Flames. That's very nice. I'm kind of a fan of Ren's Resolve. Maybe not so much in sealed deck, or not so much in deck with a lot of counters, but I've been playing it more in draft and kind of liking it. So the one thing that's going on is that if I'm red-blue, I should be pretty interested in Convoking with 2 Stoke the Flames and Transcendent Message. And I guess I have... Is that what this card's called? Yeah, Transcendent Message. And Temporal Cleansing, and Artistic Refusal, so... It would have been nice to get some of the... whatever the 2-mana make 2/1/1s card is called. What do I have in green? I have a Moloch. Green doesn't have much to offer. I don't think it's reasonable to try to build a deck that companions Karuga. I do have a little bit of fixing if I want to play 3 colors. Like if I want to play Grixis to play Halo Forager. I've got 3 dual lands. So I have this Edict, I've got Skittering Surveyor, I've got Flywheel Racer, which probably I don't really want to play. So let's see what happens if we just start with blue-red. First things first, we gotta fix this. It'd be so nice if I didn't always have to do this. But that is not how Arena works. Could play Searing Barb. It's not horrendous. It's pretty bad, though. So these are the cards I'm reasonably excited about in red, which is only 7 cards. If I needed to, I could add a little bit more of this stuff. In blue, I think I would play Order of the Mirror just because it's a 2-drop, and I want to have a lot of cheap cards to go with my Convoke stuff. This brings back instants and sorceries or battles. I'm not going to probably bring back battles, but I do have Stoke the Flames ×2 and Volcanic Spite. So I could add Temporal Cleansing to my deck if I wanted to. This is a card that's way better if your deck's going to be good at attacking. It's not that exciting if your deck might play more defensively, and I think this deck might actually play more defensively even though I have double Stoke. I just don't have enough early creatures that are good at attacking. So if I were to do this, and then I wanted to add black to my deck, I'd probably play Skittering Surveyor. And I would play Halo Forager. Should I play Karuga? In this shell, it looks like the answer is probably no. It's just going to be a 5-mana 5/4 a lot of the time. Because if I'm playing Karuga, I'm probably not going to play Halo Charged Scab. And I just don't have very many permanents that cost 3 or more. I could play in black. There's a Final Flourish that I would play as well. Probably I'd cut Temporal Cleansing in this build. So I've got 11 creatures currently. It's not an insane amount, but it's an okay amount. This thing is functionally kind of a creature. Also, I'm going to see a decent amount of cards with Volcanic Spites. Cycling me through lands, probably. And having a looter. If I wanted to add one more creature to my deck, it would probably not be a black one. Like the Scrap Chomper? Is that... We're looking at like Scrap Chomper or the Duck? Valduck? None of that stuff looks very good. Maybe, it might just be this guy. I wanted one more creature, but what spell would I cut? Probably be like Negate or Rafara's Dispersal, which I don't think I'm looking to do that. So let's fix the lands. I guess I could consider this card as well. I would certainly play this card if it was easier to cast. I'm just off of 4 sources and a Skittering Surveyor. Doesn't seem worth it. My deck's also just not going to be all that good at flipping battles easily. I don't have enough aggressive creatures. Is there anything else to even consider in this pool? Oh, I'd have 2 Invasion of New Capennas. And a Sculpted Perfection. I do have 2 of this thing. The Ichor Drinker. probably could actually have an okay white-black deck. I don't think there's a lot of point, though, in giving up Chandra, double Stoke, double Volcanic Spite to try to make this other stuff decent. Also, if I tried to utilize this, the mana is not going to work nearly as well because I have 3 Grixis lands. I think this is the thing that makes the most sense with my mana. Play heavy blue and red and just splash black. Seems to work out very easily. Yeah, let's do it. Attempt number 2. I've got some very bad rares and some very good rares, plus 1 more. Sunfall and Invasion of Tavada are obviously excellent. Warcrafting and Barl plus Kari's Ever both fine. These cards you should not play with. What's the mystery rare? Yorion. Yorion is a very good card. Probably don't want to be a 60 card deck, but it is something to consider. So I definitely want to play white. Well, I'm hoping to play white given that it's got my 2 best rares. Three Attentive Sky Wardens. It's not the stuff dreams are made of. I do have Phyrexian Awakening though, so I could make a 4/4 on turn 4 if I curve Sky Warden into Awakening. Trying to use an Attendant Sky Warden to wake up the token from Sunfall is probably never going to matter. What do we got in blue? I do have Artistic Refusal, which I'm a fan of. My last run notwithstanding. But blue actually looks pretty bad this time. I don't really have any of the good blue commons. Hopefully black is going to be good. A couple okay cheap creatures, 2 okay removal spells. Well, Deadly Derision's really good. Vanquish the Weak is obviously fine. It's just in sealed, a lot of the times the cards that matter are a little bit bigger than 3 power. Also, failed conversion. I don't hate playing this card. It's obviously not great. It's possible I might want to be red. I have Nahiri's Warcrafting, a Stoke. Do I have anything that makes me really want to have Zada Hedron Grinder in my deck? I basically never wind up trying to do this. Not a ton of red that's really interesting. War Calling and Stoke are obviously pretty nice. And I do have the 2 Rouse Reinforcements, but I don't think that... Is there anything in white that really said you want to have a lot of Rouse Reinforcements in your deck? Inspired Charge doesn't say that to me. Inspired Charge says you don't want to have Inspired Charge in your deck to me. What does green have to offer? We got one of that guy. Tandem Takedown. Yeah, not much. So if I somehow, it's like white-black with a white-red with a little black, I would be getting Stormclaw Rager, which is good with all the Rouse Reinforcements. This pool seems like it's going to be a lot harder to build. I have some good cards. I don't have very good fixing, and I don't know that I can get to just a straight 2-color deck. Don't think I want Urion to be my companion. So my only easy fixing is this backwater, which would allow me to splash blue, but I'm not that into splashing blue with this pool. Man, all these gold cards are pretty awful. I do have one Urn of Godfire, which I'll probably play if I play a 3-color deck. See what white-black looks like. I'm going to go on a Attentive Skywarden diet to start. Is there any reason to particularly want this card? No. I do have a few other Phyrexians that would get Vigilance, so it's not nothing. This thing is a 3/4 flyer. I've never put this card in my deck before. It seems absolutely mediocre. This gets back battles and creatures, so it does get back my Invasion of Tovada. That's pretty nice. So we need to play 4 more of these. Should probably just be some Attentive Skywardens. Phyrexian Awakening. If I'm trying to splash something in here, what would it be? Doesn't look like there's any green cards I really want to splash. Kind of feel like the best card to splash is probably Stormclaw Rager. I almost almost feel like Urn of Godfire would make a 2-color deck if I played white-black, just because my other options are pretty unappealing. How good is my deck at taking advantage of Yorion? Blinking Invasion of Tovada certainly matters. Blinking this thing can matter if I've exiled a Incubator token or just want to change the thing that it's exiling. I guess blinking this matters. Blinking this matters if I want to mill 3 more cards. Blinking the rat matters. I can gain a bunch of life. So, not a ton. Oh, I guess... Now, blinking this thing doesn't really matter unless I want to... Like, I can move my auras around, but that's pretty low value, I would say. If I go to white-red... Oh, I guess blinking this thing matters, too. I should probably just be assuming I'm going to play that. White-red splash black. What does that look like? It's been like a half an hour since we've seen it. Well, it's been a half an hour since I've done this. Probably if you're watching on video, it's happening within the span of 10 minutes. I get to do that twice. And we're playing Urn of Godfire in this build. And splashing Stormclaw Rager. Invasion of Tovada. This does not seem like a very strong deck. I guess I'm probably also playing at least 1 Beamtown Beatstick, just because the treasures help with the mana. I don't think I'd want to play 2 of that card. Is this deck actually better? So I've got slightly worse mana. Well, maybe more than slightly worse. And I'm playing... this stuff. These are all the cards that are always in my deck. Please just all go in one pile, thank you. Oh, not you. So it's kind of between these two 8 cards. I think both builds I wind up having to fill them out with Attentive Skywardens. So here, I'm getting Vanquish the Weak and Deadly Derision. Plus there's a failed conversion tagging along. Here I'm getting Nahiri's Warcrafting and Stoke the Flames. That's probably better. The red side probably wins out there. Here I'm getting 3 decent 2-drops versus 2 Rouse Reinforcements, which are going to be mediocre. And a Furnace Gremlin. Furnace Gremlin's pretty strong. It's probably about as strong as the black cards. I do have Stormclaw Rager, which is better than what's going on in the rest of this pool. And a Beamtown Beatstick. Also, if I really want to, I can play any of these single black cards, but I don't know that I really want to splash for failed conversion. There's also this Urn of Godfire, which I'm kind of assuming would probably actually be in my deck if I'm white-black as well. I think I like the red better. I really like Invasion of Mercadia. And between Invasion of Mercadia and Stormclaw Rager, I do... And Invasion of Talbata, like, there is a decent amount of stuff that kind of pays me off for making these tokens. Now I've sorted my deck in a non-mana curve way. Where's the option? Just sort by mana curve. Doesn't exist. This pool is, I think, worse than my previous one by a fair amount. Can I get away with one less mountain? Probably don't want to try to do that. I could play Zada. The point of that being that it's good with Angelic Intervention. I suppose I could also Nahiri's Warcrafting my whole board if I really wanted to do something like that. Is there any other things that are really sweet to... Zada? Maybe I should play this Great Sword to make sure that my tokens are doing stuff for me. Like one Sky Warden. How many creatures is this? It's only 8 creatures. It's a little bit deceptive because I do have 2 Rouse Reinforcements, Awakening. Maybe I shouldn't play the Beamtown Beatstick though. Because I'm not going to have enough creatures to reliably get it going. What's this thing? It's helped by counters marginally. This is really not on the level of Kenra Spellspear. You could play Halo Forager or Halo Hopper. I just wanted something that was castable. That doesn't sound that appealing. These white cards are all pretty bad. I might want to sideboard into black if it's a matchup where Glistening Deluge is going to be real good, like against a green-white deck. I think I'm always going to be white, though, so it's a little bit awkward to board into having that in my deck. Maybe I want this thing over a Skywarden. I do have some pretty good battles to attack. Alternately, I could play one of these 2-drops. They're both pretty unimpressive. I think I'm just going to do this. I don't have high hopes for this pool. But we'll see how it goes. right, attempt number 3. Come on, good rares. Not really what I was hoping for. These 3 are fine. Herobia Death's Wail is like kind of bad, but maybe playable. Dejaru and Hazoret's pretty bad. Maybe in sealed it would be okay. I don't need any more copies of Complete the Circuit, please. One of our mystery rares. Firesong and Sunspeaker. That's not a mystery, it's just bad. And Zephyr Singer. Zephyr Singer is excellent. So what does this do exactly? Whenever an instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And all your red instants and sorcery spells have a life link. Not the stuff dreams are made of. I guess in a very specific deck it could be playable. So we want good blue cards to go with our rares. White doesn't look very good. Ooh, I finally got a Preening Champion. And a Zephyr Singer and Arctic Refusal to go with Negate and some Cryptomancers. Blue looks actually, maybe not deep, but it looks pretty good. Black has some okay removal. Some discard. Black looks okay. It doesn't look like it's anything special. Red has a Spell Spear. Agent of Mercadia. Furnace Rains, which probably is going to be hard to use. Hurry's Warcrafting, another Stoke the Flames. All of my pools have Stoke the Flames. Green has the Imperiosaur. Do have like a bunch of stuff for like a counters matters kind of thing, but that's generally a pretty awful strategy. My only land is red-white. It's rough when you don't get very many of the non-basic lands. I do have a Flywheel Racer and a Skittering Surveyor. Green has a Blighted Burgeoning and Fertilid's Favor if I'm really desperate. Green doesn't really give me all that much, though. I think I'm going to start with red-blue. Let's see how that looks. I could maybe splash white for Digiaru, maybe Firesong and Sunspeaker. And I know I have an Alabaster Host Interceptor. Is that what it's called? Alabaster Host Intercessor. Ooh, Xerox Strobe Knight. I didn't see that at first. Maybe I'd play Astral Wingspan. It's going to depend a lot on how many cheap creatures I wind up with. So we got a couple of... These 3 I would say are all maybes. And I guess these 2 are maybes as well. Red, what else am I getting? Lithomantic Barrage, especially if I'm playing like Agar. I think this is just generally a pretty reasonable card to play, but if I'm going to play Agar and maybe Firesong and Sunspeaker, makes it even better. I think this is definitely a Rouse Reinforcements deck with Zephyr Singer and Artistic Refusal, and we know we're going to get a Stoke the Flames. And for the 3rd time, I will do this. And we get Warcrafting. Definitely going to play Fearless Scald. I think I'll probably play Hanger Scrounger. Still 6 cards short. And the stuff I'm adding at this point is not very exciting, which leads me to believe I should probably just plan to play 3 colors. So what do these things do exactly? Whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, this deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Is it even possible to trigger that in my deck? Elspeth's Smite, 3 damage, there we go. And it would allow me to gain life off of Stoke the Flames and Lithomantic Barrage and Harry's Warcrafting. It's not really all that exciting. But if I play this, play this, play this, I have Agar as a legend I can get. And is this even good? I have other stinky legends like Firesong and Sunspeaker and Valduk. I don't think I'm going to be playing any of the stuff that's good with Valduk. I mean, I guess I could play Astral Wingspan. It's probably actually a fine card with all this cheap stuff I've got. Then I would play this. And I could play like Realmbreaker's Grasp. I'm not a huge fan of Realmbreaker's Grasp. It's just, there's so many ways for it to go wrong in this format. But I do think this deck could use like a little bit more interaction, so I could see playing 1 copy. You can also just play Cut Short. That might be better. The only issue with Cut Short is it's going to be pretty hard to convoke with no white creatures in my deck. Well, I guess Jeru can convoke it. It still just might be a better card than Realmbreaker's Grasp. And then we would play the Duck. This gives me 2 legends that I can hit off of Jeru. Does this make a ton of sense that I'm playing? I have white in my deck for Jeru, which is a card I think is pretty poor. Cut Short and an Intercessor. I mean, I'm mostly splashing white at this point just because I got a Windscarred Crag. That doesn't seem like the most logical reason to do it. What if instead I was splashing black? I could splash a Final Flourish. Bloated Processor. I'm not going to have very many Phyrexians in my deck. So it's not like it's going to be a great Bloated Processor deck. Splash Vanquish the Weak. I do have a Gloomfang Mauler, which is kind of a... It's worse than the Intercessor when you're splashing because it's so much harder to just cast if you get 7 lands in play. If I'm playing like 2 Swamps and a Gloomfang Mauler, I'm almost never going to be able to cast it. Whereas the Intercessor, you will get to cast it a fair amount because it's single colored. I guess I can also play the Flywheel Racer if I want to make my mana a little better. Does this have anything to do with vehicles? No. The black seems worse than the white to me. But what if I just play straight blue-black? I can also play this thing. If I want to play just straight blue-red. I could play this. And this. I would need one more card. It could be this. It could be one of these 2-drops. Which my deck definitely could use an additional 2-drops, so that's probably actually something I should do anyway. Probably don't need to play Skittering Surveyor if I play straight blue-red. Can just do this. I guess one question here is, Tidal Terror even the best expensive creature? It's probably worse than Anaki Javelineer. Javelineer is cheaper. Do I actually want to play Valduk if I'm not playing Jeru? I do have a Greatsword. I wanted to make Valduk better. Greatsword is also really good with Fearless Scald. How many creatures is this? 14. Be going down to 13. But I do have Rouse Reinforcements. Guess I don't have to play the Halo Charged Scab either. If we just do like the most aggressive build. Is it possible I want to go down to the Scrap Chomper? Tend to think no. This couch is about giants and wizards. Do we have any? Giants or wizards? No. We're all out of giants and wizards. I'm not too worried about flooding out with this deck just because I have Hanger Scrounger, I have Invasion of Mercadia, I have Artistic Refusal. So there is some amount of looting that's going to go on. Are there any other blue cards that are worth considering? Probably not. Is it worth considering some sort of white-green or green-blue deck? Green really just doesn't have enough good cards in it. Yeah, I think this is my best deck. All right, let's start run number 3.